Good evening. Tonight, we bring you a story that will be remembered for years to come. A moment that marks a turning point in American industry and global aviation. Tonight, we witness the unthinkable. Boeing, the American titan that put the nation in the skies, has halted major production lines. The hum of progress has faded, replaced by an uneasy quiet. This is more than a business story. It's about American identity and a future being rewritten before our eyes. The flag outside the factory now waves not just for a company, but for a nation at a crossroads. The silence at Boeing's Everett factory is a stark symbol of a new era for U.S. manufacturing. Once bustling with innovation and energy, these halls now echo with uncertainty. Shockwaves are rippling from Wall Street to small towns, signaling a shift in the global landscape. Investors, business owners, and families alike are feeling the tremors of this seismic event. Boeing's indefinite suspension of its 737 MAX and 787 Dreamliner lines directly impacts tens of thousands of workers. For many, this is not just a job lost, but a way of life put on hold. But this is bigger than one company. It's about global competition, supply chains, and China's decades-long industrial strategy. The ripple effects stretch across oceans, affecting suppliers and partners worldwide. For years, analysts warned of this moment. Now it's reality, forcing a national conversation about America's place in the 21st century economy. The headlines are stark, and the questions are urgent. What does it mean when a symbol of American ingenuity is forced to its knees? The grounded planes are more than metal. They represent dreams deferred and challenges ahead. We'll hear from workers, experts, and those connecting the dots between decisions in Beijing and empty factory floors in Seattle. Their stories reveal the human side of this economic earthquake. This is a national crisis, raising urgent questions about our economic strategies and ability to compete globally. Lawmakers and leaders are now scrambling to respond. Boeing's shutdown is the story of modern America at a crossroads. The choices made now will shape the nation's future for generations. We'll unpack the technological ambition, geopolitical maneuvering, and human cost behind this historic moment. The stakes have never been higher for workers, companies, and countries alike. China's state-backed COMAC has methodically chipped away at a market once dominated by Boeing and Airbus. Their rise is no accident. It's the result of years of planning and investment. The silence at Boeing is a loud signal. The old rules of global commerce no longer apply. As the world watches, America must decide how to write the next chapter in its industrial story. To grasp today's shutdown, you must understand Boeing's legacy. For over a century, Boeing has been a symbol of American innovation and global influence. Its aircraft, from the B-17 to the 747, helped shape the 20th century and connect the world. A crucial chapter: Boeing's deep relationship with China. Since 1972, China has become Boeing's most important overseas market, with thousands of jets flying Chinese skies. But this partnership came with strings, technology transfers, and joint ventures, often at Beijing's insistence. Boeing bet its technological lead would secure dominance, while China played a longer game, using its market to build its own aerospace industry. Few foresaw that cooperation would nurture a formidable competitor. Today's shutdown is the painful result of that high-stakes gamble. The story of Boeing and China is a lesson in how today's customer can become tomorrow's rival. The announcement came at dawn. Boeing suspends production at its main commercial aircraft facilities. September 9, 2025 is now a turning point in industrial history. The reason? A collapse in new orders and a glut of unsold planes. The crisis didn't happen overnight. The key moment was China's June order. Over 400 aircraft, not from Boeing or Airbus, but from its own COMAC. This signaled China's shift from customer to producer. After that, international airlines began canceling Boeing orders, many to curry favor with Beijing. By August, Boeing's order book was slashed by nearly 40%, with dozens of unsold planes piling up. Financial pressure forced today's drastic halt. Boeing's leadership made it clear this isn't a temporary downturn but a permanent structural change in the global aviation market. The Boeing-Airbus duopoly has ended abruptly and violently. The economic shockwaves from Boeing's shutdown reach far beyond its own factories, sending ripples through the heart of American industry and affecting communities that may never have set foot inside a Boeing plant. Boeing anchors a vast and intricate supply chain. Thousands of companies from small family-run shops to major corporations and millions of jobs across all 50 states depend on its operations. For every Boeing job, several more in the community and beyond depend on it. Cafes, suppliers, logistics firms, and local businesses all feel the impact. Now those jobs are at risk, and uncertainty hangs over entire towns. In Wichita, Kansas, layoffs have already begun, leaving families anxious about their future. In Ohio and Connecticut, suppliers scramble to survive, facing tough choices and mounting financial pressure. The domino effect threatens communities nationwide, with the total cost running into tens of billions of dollars and the social toll still unfolding. Boeing's stock plummeted, dragging down suppliers and shaking investor confidence in the strength and stability of American manufacturing. The message is clear: no company, no matter how large, is immune to the new realities of global competition and shifting economic tides. The long-term risk is even greater: loss of skilled labor and manufacturing capacity that's hard, if not impossible, to rebuild once it's gone. America's industrial commons, its ecosystem of knowledge, skill, and innovation, is under threat like never before. The economic tremors from today will echo for years, shaping the future of entire regions and generations to come. This is not just a corporate crisis, but a threat to the nation's industrial future and its ability to compete on the world stage. The stakes could not be higher, for workers, for communities, and for the country as a whole. The political fallout in Washington is immediate and intense. The president vows to protect American jobs, while lawmakers debate bailouts, blame, and tariffs. Some demand a government rescue, calling Boeing too big to fail. Others want investigations into corporate strategy and technology transfers to China. Protectionist voices grow louder, demanding tariffs and trade restrictions. The shutdown is now a flashpoint in U.S.-China relations, with global implications. Boeing's collapse weakens America's diplomatic leverage, as nations turn to China's COMAC. The crisis forces a reckoning. Free trade with China hasn't led to a level playing field. Washington must now decide how to respond to a strategic rival rewriting the rules of globalization. Beyond politics and economics, the shutdown's human cost is devastating. It's not just about numbers or headlines, it's about real people whose lives are suddenly upended, their routines and sense of security shattered overnight. In towns like Everett and North Charleston, Boeing is the economic lifeblood. The company's presence supports not just workers, but entire communities, from local diners to hardware stores. Families who built their lives around Boeing now face an uncertain future. The fear of losing a steady paycheck keeps parents awake at night, wondering how they'll pay the mortgage or put food on the table. Michael, a third-generation Boeing worker, says, "This isn't just a job, it's who we are. Now I don't know what we'll do." For him and many others, the factory is part of their identity, not just their livelihood. His story echoes across thousands of families: fear, anxiety, and loss. The uncertainty is overwhelming, and the sense of community is tested like never before. The shutdown strains local budgets, threatens schools and services, and puts pressure on social safety nets. Teachers, nurses, and public workers all feel the pinch as funding dries up. High-wage jobs vanish, risking a downward spiral of declining property values and shuttered businesses. Local shops that once thrived on Boeing paychecks now struggle to survive. The American dream, once tied to a stable job at Boeing, feels broken. Hopes for a better future are replaced by worry and doubt. The shutdown deepens economic anxiety and social division. Neighbors who once stood together now find themselves divided over what comes next. This is the real cost of deindustrialization: lost hope and fractured communities. The scars left behind are visible in empty streets and abandoned homes. The drama is not on spreadsheets, but on Main Street, USA. Here, the impact is personal, visible, and deeply felt by everyone. The ripple effects will last for generations. Children growing up in these towns will remember the uncertainty and loss, shaping their futures. The question, how do these communities recover? The answer will define not just their future, but the future of American industry itself. Today's events are the result of China's long-term strategy. Made in China, 2025. Beijing poured billions into COMAC, aiming to break the Boeing-Airbus duopoly and lead in high-tech industries. COMAC secured massive orders from state-owned airlines, guaranteeing a stable base. China leveraged market access to force technology transfers, accelerating its learning curve. Through initiatives like Belt and Road, Beijing promoted the C919 to developing nations, building a new aviation ecosystem. The C919, while still using some Western parts, is a milestone. China can now design and certify modern airliners. With state backing, COMAC undercut Boeing on price and financing, winning over budget-conscious airlines. The global aviation industry is now a three-way race. One contender is a state-backed national champion. China isn't just selling planes, it's exporting its model of state-led capitalism. The rise of Comac is a dramatic example of how this model can disrupt Western industries. To make sense of this, we turn to leading experts. Dr. Annalise Riles calls this a watershed moment. The limits of free trade are exposed when facing a determined state capitalist rival. China has used its domestic market as a weapon to build national champions and displace foreign competitors. The Boeing shutdown is a case study in 21st century industrial warfare. Experts agree, the era of global convergence is over. Two competing models are emerging. Richard Fontaine notes, Boeing isn't just competing with Comac, but with the full might of the Chinese state. The world is fracturing into economic blocks, US-led, China-led, and non-aligned. Companies must now navigate a politicized, fragmented global economy, with supply chains shaped by geopolitics. Decoupling is no longer a buzzword, it's reality for strategic sectors like aerospace. The US and its allies must respond with new industrial policies and investment. The Boeing crisis has forced this debate into the public spotlight. Tonight, the silence at Boeing's factories is a wake-up call for America. This isn't just one company's struggle. It's about the foundation of US economic power in a changing world. Boeing's shutdown signals that old strategies are no longer enough. China's patient, state-driven approach has shaken an American giant. This moment exposes the vulnerability of once invincible industries. It's a reckoning, but also a chance for resolve. The challenge is clear. How will America respond? Will this crisis spark innovation and unity or deepen division and decline? The choices made now will shape the future of American industry. The giant has been shaken. Now we must decide how to help it stand tall again. Good night.